Hey everyone, how's it going? SW Gaming here, back for part 2 of my Skywalker Saga level speculation series. I hope everyone's been doing well and that you've been able to keep busy during the past few weeks as we practice social distancing and while taking these precautionary measures. While most people have been working from home or taking some necessary time off, I've been busy behind the scenes working ahead on creating some scripts for video ideas and overall thinking of some new ways to keep you, the viewers, entertained and interested. Now, this is part 2 of my level speculation series, so if you haven't seen part 1 yet, go ahead and click on that little pop-up card at the top right of the screen, and that will take you to the first video, which covered episode 1, The Phantom Menace. Now, each video in this series will follow a similar format, so you may hear me repeat some information again, such as how many levels we can expect per episode, as well as some more background information about the Skywalker Saga to inform those that are new to the channel and help keep them up to date. In each video, I'll explain the levels associated with the selected episode from the Star Wars universe, what characters we should expect to be unlocked, what locations may be included in each episode, and much more. Once again, I wanted to thank GreedoTheFett over on Reddit for the initial idea to start the series, but all comments and opinions reflected in this video come solely from myself. If you're interested in following this series over the remaining 8 weeks or so, be sure to subscribe to my channel and turn on notifications so you can get notified when each of my Skywalker Saga videos drop, which happens to be on Wednesdays and Sundays at the moment. What we know going into this series is that each episode from the Skywalker Saga will feature 5 levels each, excluding specific scenes that may take place on certain locations such as Trade Federation ships or the Tantive 4. This contrasts what we've received from the complete saga back in 2007, where these iconic ships were part of the level layouts. Each episode also contained 6 levels, compared to the Skywalker Saga's 5. Although we lose 1 level per episode, each level from the Skywalker Saga should be around 10 to 15 minutes long, more than likely without cutscenes, so we should expect little over an hour's worth of playable content from each episode. If you recall anything from the complete saga, it's probably that the levels were short, and I mean short. So the fact that we're receiving 1 less level per episode doesn't really bother me. What bothers me though is that if iconic ships are excluded from specific levels, would we have to travel to those locations in order to play the scene? And if that's so, I can see getting frustrating real fast, as it takes away from the overall story experience when I have to stop and travel from one planet to a vehicle or somewhere else in space just to continue on with the story. Without knowing how well the story and travel functions will mesh together though, I'm not able to judge the overall game layout quite yet. I would like to see some sort of lobby though, such as the Mos Eisley Cantina or even Dexter's Diner, as it'd be an easier way to replay already completed levels, but we have no word on that yet. Before we get into breaking down each of the 5 levels from Episode 2, Attack of the Clones, I wanted to make it clear that this video is pure speculation, and does not reflect any thoughts or comments previously expressed by the game's developers, TT Games. These level layouts will more than likely not directly reflect what we will see in the actual game, but I make these videos regarding what we could see once the game is released. Some of the following chapter names will reflect those from the complete saga as well, so I'm borrowing those titles to describe what lies ahead in each chapter. Now, with all of that out of the way, let's start off with Chapter 1 of Attack of the Clones. Chapter 1, which I'm calling Bounty Hunter Pursuit, starts off with a cutscene of the assassination attempt of Senator Padme Amidala, which ultimately fails. After confirming that her fears of an assassination are indeed true, the Jedi Council assigns an older Obi-Wan Kenobi and his Padawan, Anakin Skywalker, to keep watch over her during her stay in Coruscant. In order to start this first level, you must travel to Coruscant and enter the Escrew district, which is where most of this chapter takes place. Once starting the level, you will be able to free roam around Padme's apartment. As you approach Padme, another cutscene begins as her and Anakin are introduced once more for the first time in roughly 10 years since the events of The Phantom Menace occurred. Later that night, another assassination attempt occurs, but Anakin is able to help save her as Obi-Wan crashes through the window holding onto the ASN-121 assassination droid. This is where the actual level and gameplay begins. While holding onto the droid, you must avoid the fast-moving speeders, and if successfully completed, another cutscene occurs where Obi-Wan drops down onto Anakin's speeder. After this, you switch to Anakin, and much like the level in the complete saga, you must follow Zam Wesell's speeder through the remainder of Coruscant. Before the level ends, as Anakin, you must jump from your speeder and free fall onto Zam's, thus triggering the closing cutscene. After tracking down the mysterious bounty hunter, which we already know to be Zam Wesell by now, we are treated to the cutscene where Obi-Wan foolishly denies a batch of death sticks, and Zam Wesell is finished off by none other than GreedoTheFett. Chapter 2 opens with Obi-Wan landing on the remote ocean planet of KAMINO after discovering the location of this hidden planet from the Jedi archives. The majority of the mission is spent playing as Obi-Wan in his Jedi robes, and with his astromech droid R4-P117, or just R4 for short. While exploring the cloning facility, several cutscenes will occur, but the main difference from this level compared to the complete saga is that we could expect to play as Taun We. At this point, Taun We will replace R4 as the secondary character, but that won't last long as we transfer into the main part of this level, which happens to be the GreedoTheFett boss battle. This battle could be split into two scenes, one at the cloning facility, and the other in space. The first half of this battle involves trying to attack GreedoTheFett while destroying several weaponry points on the Slave One. After the Slave One has received enough damage, Obi-Wan is subdued and the Slave One is able to flee the cloning facility. The second half of this level occurs in space, but how you trigger it is somewhat unclear to me. After defeating GreedoTheFett on KAMINO, you may be directly brought into the second part of the level, or I could see having to fly to a specific point on the map to trigger this scene. Playing as Obi-Wan's starfighter, a chase sequence occurs as you try to approach the Slave One. This part of the mission will be timed, and in addition you must avoid the ion bombs that Jango leaves behind. After catching up to the Slave One, the next part involves inflicting more damage to the ship while avoiding flying asteroids. After completing the requirements for this level, a cutscene shows the Slave One exploding as Obi-Wan flies off into the distance. While approaching the planet of GEONOSIS, we learn that Jango has indeed survived, and now follows behind Obi-Wan. After landing, Obi-Wan is captured by the Geonosian warriors, and that ends Chapter 2, Discovery on KAMINO. Somewhere between Chapter 2 and Chapter 3, I think we could expect some sort of mini-level or side mission on Naboo, where Anakin and Padme's somewhat controversial relationship begins to occur. This side quest would not be needed to continue on with the next level, but is another free roam addition to the expansive Skywalker Saga universe. Slightly going off topic here, but I wanted to share something that I found interesting while discovering some theories a while back. Sometimes Padme and Anakin's relationship feels a bit unnatural and forced, and this may be due to the fact that Anakin was controlling Padme's emotions the entire time through a Jedi mind trick. Whether he was doing this on purpose or not is unclear, but once again, this is not confirmed. This is just a rumor in case you wanted something else to think about. Now let's get back to the speculation and on to Chapter 3, titled Anakin's Revenge, or just simply like Geonosis, something along the lines of that. Like most chapters in this level speculation series, Chapter 3 is split into two major parts. The first part will take place on Tatooine, playing as Anakin and R2-D2 as Anakin returns to his former home planet in search of his mother, Shmi Skywalker. After visiting the Lars homestead and learning that his mother was taken by Tusken Raiders, Anakin sets out towards their camp in hopes of finding her still alive, but we all know how that ends. This is one of the darkest scenes in all of the Skywalker Saga, but I think that it should be included in the game as it's another important step towards Anakin's journey towards the dark side. After slaughtering not only the men, but the women and children too, we leave Tatooine on a rescue mission to help save Obi-Wan, now held captive on Geonosis. After reaching the outer rim of Geonosis, a cutscene between the once Jedi, now turned Sith, Count Dooku, and a captive Obi-Wan occurs. The second half of this level is rather straightforward, playing as either Anakin, Padme, R2-D2, or a newly unlocked C-3PO, while caught in the droid factory assembly line. I don't see the level being super challenging, but more of a necessary point to move the story along. We also already know how this level ends, as revealed through one of the Skywalker Saga's trailers, when our heroes are captured by a soon-to-be deceased GreedoTheFett and Destroyer droids. Chapter 4's title, which shouldn't be a surprise to anyone, will be called the Battle of GEONOSIS. I predict that this will be the best level to come out of Episode 2, as it not only delivers some of the best scenes from the film, but also offers the most action that we've seen since the Battle of Naboo from Episode 1, The Phantom Menace. Once again, if you haven't seen my level speculation series on Episode 1, go check that out. I could see numerous unlockable characters in this level, which could include Anakin, Obi-Wan, Arena Padme, and 2 new characters, which are the standard Phase 1 Clone Trooper and everybody's favorite Mace Windu. After successfully defeating the arena beasts, a cutscene of the Jedi and clones descending onto the arena battlefield occurs, and a final GreedoTheFett battle takes place playing as Mace Windu. After defeating Jango, we're able to play as any of the other noted characters until we've defeated a certain number of enemy droids. This will trigger another cutscene where our heroes flee the arena and make their way towards Count Dooku. There will be a short part of this mission while you control a Republic gunship and must destroy several droid core ships. I remember this level from the Skywalker Saga being very boring and annoying, so hopefully TT Games is able to revamp this part of the mission and give it some more interesting and enjoyable aspects. Before starting the final chapter of Episode 2, we get a cutscene where Dooku approaches the loading zone as Anakin and Obi-Wan follow closely behind. The final chapter of Episode 2 keeps the same name as the complete saga, as it's simply titled Count Dooku, which, as you guessed, is the main boss. This level only includes the final battle with Dooku and is rather linear compared to some of the other levels we've covered so far in the speculation series. There's not much to explain in this particular sequence, but overall we should expect to play as Anakin, Obi-Wan, and finally Yoda. The first half of this battle takes place between Anakin, Obi-Wan, and Count Dooku, while the second half centers solely between Yoda and Dooku. I think that we should expect to find that Yoda's battle is more interesting, and I could see part of this battle centered around deflecting Dooku's Force Lightning, which could be as simple as button mashing to deflect. I think I'm more excited to witness Yoda's fighting style though, through the game's updated graphics, as he flips through the air swinging his lightsaber, which made for a pretty fast-paced fighting sequence in the film. After you defeat Dooku, that wraps up the last level from Episode 2, Attack of the Clones, as we close on the cutscene where we get the iconic images of the clones lined up, prepared for battle, and the wedding ceremony between Anakin and Padme as they look out towards the horizon on the waters of Naboo. After Chapter 5 closes, you'll be met with a completion screen that displays your personal stats for the game, in addition to all the new characters that have been unlocked. I know that overall Attack of the Clones typically places pretty low on everyone's ranking tier for Star Wars films, but I do believe that there's still a lot of great sequences throughout that will transfer nicely into the Skywalker Saga. Let me know down below what you thought of the second episode in this level speculation series, and if I could improve upon anything for the next video, which will cover Episode 3, Revenge of the Sith, and close off the prequel era of the Skywalker Saga. If I happen to miss anything that you think should have been or should be included in a specific level, go ahead and let me know as well. Like I've said, creating these videos takes a lot of time and effort, but I enjoy thinking about what we could expect to see from the Skywalker Saga upon release. If you're not currently subscribed and would like to stay up to date on the remaining 7 episodes in this series, or any of my other Skywalker Saga videos, be sure to subscribe to my channel and turn on those notifications. As always, thanks for watching, hope you have a great day, and I'll see you in the next one.